This is the new Citroen C4, a compact hatchback which looks like a crossover, and to make things even more interesting, I think it's more German than the C5. And it's all inspired by you. Don't change the channel, because the world will explode. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks.
The C4 is Citroen's 10th compact car, starting with the original 1928 C4 through AMI 6, AMI 8, GS, BX, ZX, Xsara, C4 again, and C4 Cactus. Citroen boasts it sold 12.5 million compact cars in 92 years. Is that a lot?
I won't focus on the almost 40 million VW Golfs or almost 50 million Toyota Corollas. BMW sold more 3 Series cars in half the time Citroen needed for its compacts. Fun fact, even Lada sold more of the 2105, known as the Riva in some Western markets.
But the Citroen C4 is not a direct replacement for the C4 Cactus. In terms of size, it's somewhere between the C4 Cactus and the C5 Aircross. It's yet another hatchover, or whatever you want to call it. Do you see a pattern here? Citroen no longer has any normal hatchbacks, liftbacks or estates. Everything has higher ground clearance, everything looks bold, and everything is focused on comfort.
Another fun fact, in 2018 Citroen announced its new slogan, inspired by you. Everything is supposed to be different, everything is supposed to be feel good, and everything is focused on the users. Which begs the question, where did Citroen draw inspiration from in the past, if not from its clients' needs? Jokes aside, I think this time inspiration worked to the point. I'd say this is a very German car, and designers approached it very functionally. Only they went further and allowed the C4 to take inspiration from history and at the same time set new trends. Very refreshing when you compare it to almost 40 million cars that basically look the same, no?
Like the Peugeot 2008 and the Opel Mokka, yes, this is now the same group. Also, the Citroen C4 is available with a diesel, petrol or an electric powertrain. This is the 1.2-liter 3-cylinder 130 horsepower petrol motor. There is also a 155 horsepower variant, mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox.
We'll start in the rear. There is no rear window wiper, but the window is so high and under such an angle that airflow should blow excess water off it. Whatever water and mud mist forms behind the car will sit on the vertical part of the tailgate and on this small window here, but you can't really see anything through it anyway. It's kind of like in the Honda Civic Hatch or in the Mitsubishi Eclipse, but they still have rear wipers, while the Citroen designers decided a wiper would spoil this beautiful line.
The boot volume is 380 liters, there is a double floor and the parcel shelf fits underneath it. There are even 2 shopping bag hooks. If I had to nitpick, I'd say the spare wheel well is poorly utilized. I'd like some sort of a styrofoam divider in there to keep things safe from flying around. In the EV version, this is where you're supposed to store your charging cables. The doors cover the sills, which makes it easier to get in and out of the car, especially as the ground clearance is more than 15 centimeters. The backrest splits 40-60, there are cup holders in the armrest, as well as a place for a smartphone. Behind the armrest is a ski hatch, above the middle tunnel are air vents as well as 2 USB ports, a USB-A and a USB-C port. There is a lot of legroom and sufficient headroom. Door pockets can accommodate small bottles. This elegant finish on the doors looks like it's a door handle, but unfortunately it does nothing.
In the C4 Cactus and in the current generation of the C3, Citroen offered visually attractive upholstery, and at some stage it also decided to make the seats not only look attractive but also be comfortable. And so here we have the so-called advanced comfort seats, which are very comfy to sit in, although adjustment is somewhat cumbersome.
The backrest tilt adjustment knob is exactly behind the B-pillar and it's almost smooth rather than, say, octagonal. The lumbar support adjustment knob is small, so it's hard to grab. This could theoretically be solved with power seats, but Citroen offers only partly power seat adjustment, which raises the price but doesn't give you the full benefit of power seats with memory function.
And now, brace yourselves! Citroen has done something I haven't seen in the history of French automotive industry. On the steering wheel spokes, there are buttons for the adaptive cruise control, for the phone, and for the multimedia. There are no joysticks behind the steering wheel. Also, the steering wheel is heated, which again is a rare thing in French cars.
Yes, the bottom spoke is piano black and it's going to be filthy 5 minutes after you take delivery of your car, but this is not unique to Citroen. Car designers seem to think this is a good idea, and it will take a few more years of people like me and you complaining about it before this trend goes away.
Another change, which is perhaps even more significant than the buttons on the steering wheel, and that's physical AC controls. You can still use the touchscreen if you want, because PSA didn't bother to redo the interface, but physical buttons and knobs are back for the first time since they disappeared in the Peugeot 308 and then in the Citroen C4 Cactus and other PSA cars. Someone really took inspiration from what customers wanted.
Under the AC controls, there is an induction charger and 2 USB ports, USB-C on the driver's side, USB-A on the passenger side. In the Peugeot E2008 I reviewed a few months ago, in order to use Android Auto I had to connect to the passenger side USB-A port, but in the C4 I have to connect to the USB-C port on the driver's side, which is logical. Below is a shelf for your bits and bobs and a 12-volt socket. On the tunnel there are the gear selector, the drive mode selector, 2 cup holders and more piano black, some of which is already scratched.
The door pockets are large, storage under the armrest is modest, and so is the glove box. However, over the glove box is a drawer, and in this drawer is a tablet holder. Now, I don't know why you would put a tablet in the front rather than in the rear where the kids usually sit, but I don't know, maybe it's for like one of those regularity or time, speed, distance rallies where your co-pilot needs his app on here. Let me know in the comment section below. Your guess is as good as mine.
The central display is, let's face it, you use it for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The driver's display is simple, similar to that in the ID.3. Beside the speed, you can also view sat-nav directions, trip computer or driver aids. Speed limit information appears on the HUD. The Citroen C4 is all about comfort. In the 2018 C4 Cactus, Citroen introduced progressive hydraulic cushions. During significant shock absorber compression, hydraulic stops absorb the energy, so there is no rebound. Under normal road conditions, they give more suspension travel, thus making the ride more comfortable. The same technology is also used on the C5 Aircross.
And the C4 is indeed comfortable. The interior is fairly well soundproofed, the seating position is high and the seats are comfortable. Also, the steering is rather light and the assistance systems allow for level 2 semi-autonomous driving. What's that all about?
There are 5 levels of driving autonomy, with 5 meaning fully autonomous driving that doesn't require any human input. Level 1 is adaptive cruise control or parking assist, where the driver still has to control at least part of the driving process.
Level 2 means it's possible to temporarily hand over driving to the car, but it's necessary to pay attention at all times. So the adaptive cruise control keeps the speed and distance to other cars in check, and the active lane keeping assist helps you to keep you in the lane. Of course, the driver has to keep their hands on the wheel, but if they let go, the car should be able to go around a corner, a moderate corner, as long as it sees the lines on the road.
But this is where things get messy. Today there's almost no snow left, but a few days earlier I drove in a blizzard and the sensors were covered in snow and mud. This will be the case for basically any car these days, so in the future engineers will have to think of ways to clean and defrost the sensors and cameras.
Speaking of defrosting, the C4 can be ordered not just with a heated steering wheel, but also heated seats and heated windscreen. I highly recommend the latter for times when you have to drive in freezing drizzle.
Let me get back to visibility. The A-pillar is thick and at an angle which limits visibility when you approach junctions, and to make things worse, the wiper ends its run good 5 cm away from the A-pillar, leaving an even bigger blind spot on a rainy or snowy day. Visibility to the rear is, like I mentioned, similar to that in the Honda Civic Liftback or the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Good thing about this spoiler is that it prevents most headlights from blinding you in the rearview mirror. Visibility over the shoulder is better than I expected.
Dynamics. With the 130 horsepower petrol engine and the automatic gearbox, the C4 should accelerate from 0 to 100 km per hour in 9.4 seconds according to the French spec sheet, 9.5 seconds according to the Polish spec sheet, and 10.2 seconds according to the German spec sheet. So, in fact, nobody knows how quick this car is supposed to be.
Taking into account wet tarmac, I got close to the German result, and that was in sport mode. In normal mode, I was fractions of a second slower. In case of 80 to 120 km per hour time, the difference was even bigger with 8.2 seconds in normal and 7.4 seconds in sport mode.
Combined fuel economy also differs depending on which specification you look at. It ranges from 4.6 liters per 100 kilometers in Poland to about 5.8 in France. I got high 6 to low 7s combined anyway.
Should you want to tow a trailer, the C4 can tow up to 1200 kilograms, 1000 in case of the least powerful petrol engine. The EV can't tow. The headlights are LED but not powerful enough to have self-leveling. They are about low energy use, which helps the stop and start system. Speaking of which, even in slight sub-zero temperatures, the stop and start system doesn't work and there's a warning light telling you about it. I tried to turn it on, but the car showed a message that the temperature is too low. Earlier, I encountered the same situation in the Peugeot 308, but I drove that in proper winter, so I wasn't surprised. Price of the Citroen C4 start at €24,000 for the 100 horsepower petrol with a manual gearbox. The cheapest diesel costs almost 30 grand, and the EV starts at almost 35,000. This is the 130 horsepower automatic in Shine spec starting in 29,000. With options, this car costs about €31,000. This is less than a similarly spec'd Mazda CX-30, Kia Exceed, or Toyota CHR.
I like the new Citroen C4, I just think it may be a bit too bold for some buyers. Otherwise, it's a reasonably priced and spacious car, so practical it should be referred to as the C4. And how do you like the new Citroen C4? Let me know in the comment section below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.